All right, class, as you can tell, I'm not here today. So, what I am going to do is kind of keep moving on the way we normally would if I was in class. So, uh, today we're going to talk about punishments. Remember, as we talked about last night, you know, reinforcements try to get behavior to repeat, punishments trying to get behavior to stop. Positive punishment means you give something to get a behavior to stop, like a spanking or detention or something like that. A negative punishment is to take something away, like an allowance or freedom, jail. You take away freedom. So that's the difference between positive and negative punishments. But for punishments to work, the punishment should be swift. Now, this is when you're trying to stop a behavior. Things like getting a dog to stop going to the bathroom in the house. Excuse me. Punishment should be certain every time. You can't have a dog poop and not get punished, and then poop again and it does get punished. It takes a lot longer for that change. Punishment should be limited in time and intensity. Punishment should clearly target the behavior, not the person. So I'm punishing this behavior, I'm not punishing the person. And then the most effective punishment is often omission training or negative punishment, taking things away. And again, I'll explain that in a second. Yeah. So punishers are anything that decrease a behavior. If you break curfew, you get a $75 ticket by application. So you are losing money. All right, they are taking money from you. You're not allowed to use a family car if you break curfew. Again, that's losing your great date night by. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't mean to confuse you. You are given a $75 ticket by application, but you are being removed if you're late to curfew and you can't use a car anymore. You are removed from that. That is removed. That is something that is taken from you. Both positive and negative punishments decrease the likelihood, hopefully, that you will break curfew. So, how do we actually use operant conditioning? Do we wait for the subject to deliver the desired behavior? So here's another term that you need to know: shaping. Sometimes we use a process called shaping. When you train, let's say you want to train your dog to bring you your slippers or newspaper or an L8 or whatever. You would have to reinforce him in very small steps. You would have to shape the behavior using small steps. First, you need to find the L8. Or first, you have to, if it's in the fridge, you'd have to take the dog to the L8 and then give him a cookie. Then you'd have to teach him to open the door. Then you give him a cookie, and then to pick up the L8 and you give him a cookie. You bring them, then you bring it to you. This is shaping the behavior when you do it in small incremental steps. There it is. Shaping is reinforcing small steps in a way to the desired behavior, which is different than chaining behaviors. Chaining is different. Chaining behaviors, subjects are taught a number of responses successively in order to get a reward. Right, and you saw this a bit more in the Skinner box, and I'll post this on the desktop as well. And if the sub would be able to click on this down here, I'll probably have it labeled as something. But it gives you an example of chaining behaviors. So you have to do a bunch of things in a row to do that in order to get a reward. And again, I'll put both of these up so you can see both of them. I may do it in a Word document. So, according to Skinner, if a behavior never occurs, we say it is not in the person's repertoire. So if your dog does not go to get you an L8, it's not in the dog's repertoire. Shaping is a way of adding behaviors to that person's or that dog's repertoire. Shaping is used when the target behavior does not yet exist. In shaping, what is reinforced is some approximation of the target behavior. So what I want to make sure that you get is what's underlined. So if the sub would pause this for a minute so you can underline these, that would be great. So I'm going to go ahead and move on. Chaining, on the other hand, is a new behavior you want to build, maybe a series of a series or a chain of behaviors. A behavior chain is a series of related behaviors, each of which provides the cue for the next and last, and that's what produces the reinforcer. All right, so you're going to put a whole bunch of small behaviors together, and then at the end, that's when you get the reinforcement. And here are some examples of the types of reinforcers. Primary reinforcers function due to biological makeup. So these are primary. These are things that are in themselves rewarding to help you stay alive. Food, water, shelter, warmth. All of these things are things that we need in order to live. So these are essentially primary reinforcers. So if you're using a dog, it'd be food or something like that. Secondary reinforcers are reinforcers that are learned, that acquire value through being paired with primary reinforcers. Things like money, attention, social approval. All right, these all have value because we ourselves have placed value on that. You know, you use money to buy food, water, and warmth. You use attention to, feel loved, to get shelter and all that. Social approval, all those things are paired with primary reinforcers. So that's what makes up a secondary reinforcer. So primary is biological, secondary is learned. Make sure you know the difference between those two. Again, this is probably a place where the sub should pause this in order for you to make sure you write both of these down, because again, these are very important. And I'm going to move on right now. We've already talked about that. Primary reinforcer, again, things that are themselves rewarding. Secondary, we've learned to value. Now, money is interesting because it's referred to as a generalized reinforcer because it can be traded for just about anything. You can use these for whatever you want. Man, that bacon looks really good. That fat back. Sorry. So money is kind of a special thing because it has a lot of value. Last thing I want to talk about is a token economy. We see these quite a bit, especially in school. Every time a desired behavior is performed, a token is given. So here at school, what is that? That's our Panther Paws. Our Panther Paws program that we have here is essentially a token economy. You do something good, you get a Panther Paw. All right? And you take that Panther Paw into the office and you have a chance for a variety of different prizes. You know, the extra hat days or the pops or whatever. I can't remember what all is done. The same thing. Yeah, what are our tokens here at FCHS? Well, I mean, we've just talked about it. Are there more? I'll give you a couple of seconds to maybe discuss this. Are there other token economies used here at the school? Now, what I will pass out to you on Monday is what I call my conditioning matrix. This kind of gives you a little bit of an example of everything that's sort of going on when you're conditioning something. You've got two different types. You've got classical conditioning and you've got operant conditioning. There's a bell, so I've got to go. I'll just leave this up here and we'll pause it. I would consider writing this down, but I'll also give you a copy of this on Monday when I come back. So, anyways, hope you all have a good day and have a good weekend. I want to thank the sub for showing this and showing some of the other clips. And we will see you all on Monday. Have a great weekend. No homework up this weekend. So congratulations. Goodbye.